Welcome back to the Skids and Giggles podcast. I am Pascal, chief instigator of this show and your host. I am joined by my co-host and resident engineer, the yin to my yang, the captain slow to my stig, Bryson. How's it going today, buddy?
Jolly good, Pascal. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, bud. Today, we are also joined by our good buddy and the first ever Red Bull Rookie of the Year, Lucas Huppert. How is it going, Hoopy?
All good, all good. Thanks for having me here.
Well, we also have to thank you very much for doing this podcast in English. It really means a lot to us to be able to do this, and we commend you for it.
Thank you. Good practice.
Let's just do our usual spiel before we get into the meat of the discussion and do our usual sing and dance with the social and where you guys can find more information about the Skids and Giggles podcast. We are currently most active on Instagram, where you can skid right into our DMs and follow along at Skids and Giggles. And you can find our website with all the relevant links and the info under the URL skidsandgiggles.com. Well, let's get going. Upi, we had a conversation just recently with a good friend of yours, good friend of ours, Chris Rabo. And he told us a very good story about yourself, about your younger days in the sport. And he told a story about you bringing mattresses down from your bedroom to practice 360s and other jumps in the backyard of your parents' house. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I always wanted to jump around, do stuff like that. And then I built a tiny ramp with my dad, tiny wood ramp, and jumped into the front yard, which is a small piece of grass, like 7 onto 20 meters or something, kind of small. And yeah, then I was scared to do 360s and stuff, so I just took the mattress, put it there, and tried it on. So that was my self-made resi.
All right. Well, I guess we'll hear a lot about your progression away from the 360s and the mattresses in the backyard. So maybe we can start with the beginning. Usually, where all the good stories start. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got into riding bikes and, of course, later on slopestyle?
Yeah, I mean, I was always a quite active kid. I started with skating and snowboarding like when I was super young, 4, 5, 6 years old or something. And I always, was pushing hard and was even skating some obstacles, sliding on some rails and stuff. And then my mom just sent me to a cross-country mountain bike kind of club, which was two towns further from mine. And then there was like a kids group, I don't know, like 10 kids, and we had like coaching and stuff, and we did some funny biking games and all kind of technique trainings and stuff. And so from that moment on, I fell in love with biking, I didn't know if I really fell in love back then, but it was just a thing I liked to do. And then another 2 towns away from mine, there was a guy called Ralf Schneider, which built some pretty big jumps, still good size now, in his backyard. And I went there almost every day after school, and have been digging there, made the jumps bigger, have been practicing tricks and stuff, and I rode there for a bunch of years. But then that park got torn down, and I was, riding just the local parks around in Zurich and Lenzburg and Siegenthaler, which is a OG spot from Switzerland, which is also, got torn down in like 2014 or something. And there I met some friends, which are still my friends now, like Chris Reber and Peter Bossert and Silvan Malfurt, like so many people. Yeah, and there it started even more that I was like really, really into biking. And then I went a lot of riding with Chris Reber. We started to do our first competitions. And from then on, almost every season, it got kind of better. Then I started my apprenticeship, which was super stressful with all the biking stuff. But on and on, there were always competitions, and I've got slowly better. Except to 2020, there were no competitions.
Well, I'm sure we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But let's. Was it always when you talk about competition? Was that always slope style, or were you also entering some of the cross country races early on?
Well, not really. I mean, I think it wasn't like a really proper cross country club because the kids were just doing fun things, And yeah, I did some four-cross racing. Oh, I forgot about that. Sorry. There were so many things. But I started four-cross racing also super early with like 10 or 11. Did that for 4 seasons. But my main focus was always riding dirt jumps. But I did the cross-country races with just, for fun with my dad. He brought me to the competitions. And I mean, I've won a lot of them stops. Never got the overall title. Always got vice or third place. But I was always super close. But for that I've never been practicing any on of my four-cross skills. Kind of stoked.
Okay, good. Well, it's obviously some good base fitness from the cross country side and some explosiveness from the slope style.
Yeah, and I did a cyclocross race with a half shell dirt jumping helmet, just to tell you guys, and Troy Lee pants with some random cross country bike. Like, I don't know why I did that, but I was really dying. I was like 12 years old and pedaling, and all of the kids had like carbon bikes, this and that. Me with the half shell dirt jump helmet, like, yo, peace, guys.
But you had a good time anyway, so that's what counts. That's the spirit. All right, but so then competition. You talked about Chris Rabo, who took you along, and I mean, who were the other people that that inspired you at the time when you were younger? Who were you looking up to?
I mean, in the beginning, it was that guy Rolf Schneider from the neighbor town with the dirt jumps in his garden. But then he slowly stopped riding, or not that much anymore. And then I was always looking up to like Ramon Hunziker in Switzerland and Chris Reber, obviously.
The Godfather.
Yeah, I mean, we did a bunch of contests together, and we have I think he didn't ride a lot more competitions than me back in the day. I mean, I always rode the pre-qualies and he rode the qualies and finals and stuff because I always bumped out when I was younger. But like people like Sam Pilgrim and these dudes, I mean, I was a big fan, or I'm still a big fan. But now they're like, I know of all of them, they're friends.
Yeah,
like Tommy G, for example, I was always looking up to. Like when he won 2 times Swatch Rocket in a row, it was like, oh, Tommy G. And now I'm riding like twice a week with him.
Yeah, exactly. He's here all the time.
Yeah.
But I think in general, I mean, if I look at, obviously I follow you on your socials, and I, see where you're at, where you're training, who you're training with, from time to time. It always appears that you think it's competition and everyone is kind of fighting each other, wants to be better than the other guy and stuff like that. But yeah, if you look at the pictures and the videos and stuff, it always looks like you're all best buddies. You're always hanging out and always cheering you on and pushing each other on, right?
Yeah, that's so cool in our sport or in our discipline. I mean, I don't know how it is in like the downhill races and stuff, how competitive it is, but like in slopestyle, like you can easily, I think there's everyone on the tour. You can just, if I'm like somewhere stuck, I don't know, in Canada, I'm just calling somebody like, yo, can I sleep at your house? It's like, oh yeah, sure, man. And we're going out for beers after competitions and stuff. And yeah, it's like, they're super, super good friends of mine. Like everyone is a good group of friends and we're always having a good time. And, if you're going to competition, it isn't all about just the competitions. It's just about being together, having dinner together and riding a sick horse. And yeah, I love that.
Okay, well, I guess that's the main the main benefit of let's say of a competition format where you're not racing each other, right? So that's, for example, one of the things I note in, let's say, enduro, which is something relatively new for me because my background is in endurance racing, right? So road cycling and cross country and marathons and stuff like that. And there, of course, you're always racing someone. And the main difference with for example enduro is that you're the only person you're racing is the clock and yourself, and after the stage you're hanging out with your buddies and having a good time. And I guess that's the same analogy in slopestyle.
Yeah, and that's so good. I mean, if everyone would be fighting against each other, you wouldn't enjoy the competitions and traveling that much, I think.
Okay. Is that also something that inspires you to push on? And so, for example, when you learn on new tricks, is that that's something that pushes you? And are you helping each other to try new tricks?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you see somebody do like, I don't know, a front flip off that step down or something, and you also want to do that, then you're just going there and it's like, hey man, what should I do? And he's like, yeah, be careful with the speed, you can over-rotate easily, blah, 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 this and that. But no one will ever tell you, like, I won't tell you, it's a secret. You gotta learn it by yourself, you know. Everyone is helping each other out. And yeah, if I'm like going to someone experienced, like Nikolai Rogetkin and somebody, or Tommy G, and I'm like, yo man, I'm not sure about that. And then they're like, yeah, I mean, if you know the speed and jump is good, I think it's possible. I know your Kirk 7 or whatever kind of trick is working good, so I think you got that. And yeah,
Good.
They help you out, you know.
Cool. And that camaraderie, is that once the competition is done, is that still going on? Are you going out after the competition, or I heard there's a certain rule.
It's just starting the camaraderie, or how it's called?
Camaraderie.
Yeah, it's just starting after then, like, because we're all pumped. For example, after Joyride, everyone is pumped that he survived, you know? So everyone is super stoked, like, what? Let's go to the pub afterwards. And the winner has to pay 10% of the prize money in drinks for all the riders.
Oh, wow.
That's the official, unofficial rule. It doesn't happen all the time. But I mean, I would do it all the time, I say now. But if I would win every weekend, it would get kind of expensive. But I won once in Vigo, and I spent more than 10%.
Oh, very good, very good. Yeah, but depending on the competition, the prize money, that can obviously be a big night for everyone.
But like with 18, winning your first ever pro competition, you party hard. I can just say that.
Sure. That's actually a good transition. Of course, this you mentioned it earlier. You just recently finished your apprenticeship, and you're actually for the first time in your career, you're a full-time rider now. How are things going now? What has changed? What's better? What's still the same?
I mean, like all the competitions, practice, all that stuff with the apprenticeship was insanely tough. Like, I was never feeling great. Like, my body was always like, I don't know, fucked, I could say. Because, I don't know, you came from that competition with jet lag straight to construction working, because I did electrician on the construction side, building side. And yeah, like in winter from 7 to 5 or 6 in minus degrees, then you go straight to the gym or whatever, or indoor bike park to practice, come home at 11, same day, like every day in the week. You do that, and then you're going to competitions like New Zealand, 12-hour jet lag, come home, next day on the building site. And yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a nightmare, but I mean, I was still successful, which kept me going all the time. And I was often like in doubt, and I thought like, wow, do I really want to do that? Am I just killing myself doing that? But yeah, I mean, it all paid off, all worked out. I'm now professional mountain bike rider, living the dream. I always want to do that.
How does it feel saying that?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday I was I mean, I just met a friend of mine, and we're talking a bit, and he was like, "Yo, man, I mean, if you think about it, you achieved that which you have been dreaming on for like years, and you really did that." And I was like, huh? And I didn't really think about it before, and then it was like, yes. I mean, I'm insanely stoked about it, you know. But like, sometimes you don't really think about it because you're like, okay, yeah, it's just normal life now after 9 months. But if I think back, I'm really living the dream. Yeah, like every day. But now I feel way healthier. I can do all my gym stuff, stretching, and I'm not always exhausted. I can really focus on my sessions, on my training. You know, I can work on tricks, and I'm not always, like my eyes are not always tearing, and I'm not always having a stiff neck.
Falling asleep constantly.
Yeah, I mean, and no joke, I fell asleep on building site while working. I was doing something like on the ground, fixing some electrician stuff. I don't know the English word, but I just fell asleep.
Oh, wow.
Then the dude, my workmate shows up and is like, "Man, what the fuck are you doing here?" Well, sorry. And yeah, but also business-wise with sponsor and stuff, it's now way easier. Because imagine, like, I had to do all the calls during work times. Because, like, some marketing agencies, whatever, they're not working at 7. Or they don't want to work at 7. And I want to have something from them, you know. So I should be on the right times. So then I knew okay, on that time maybe my boss is not showing up. I can have the quick 15-minute call. Then somebody screaming like, "Wait, bring a Stein!" I don't know, like the guy building the walls, you know, like, "Yeah, bring the stone, blah, blah, blah." And some other guys working with some tools, insanely loud. I'm running out of the building to have a quiet call. Then the boss shows up around the corner, like, "Fuck, dude, what are you doing outside? Like, you should work." Like, "Oh, I had a call." Blah. Anyways, whatever. I mean, it's now all way more professional and less stress. And I can do everything like 100% and don't have to deal with 2 jobs in one day. And
Okay.
yeah, like
Okay. Very cool.
a lot of talking.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I can feel the excitement about your new life. I mean, I guess our listeners they can all read up on your main achievements, the headlines, so to speak. But from your perspective, what were the highlights so far? I mean, of course, the big part of your career lies still ahead of you, and but what were the highlights so far?
For sure, the Red Bull Joyride 2019. I got 8th place, which I'm super stoked on still. Because, I mean, Red Bull Joyride is the hardest competition, the toughest, the first slopestyle competition ever in mountain biking. And everyone is there, every team manager, everyone from the bike industry is watching it. Everyone which rides bikes knows the competition, and the course is super rough, huge jumps, wind. I mean, it's no joke. And you have 5 days of practice, and almost every day it's windy. Contest day is windy. So you didn't done all of your stuff in practice, and yeah. I mean, I think I never had tears finishing a run before, but at Joyride, there were some tears coming out, and I had the helmet on because I didn't want to show it, but I was like, "Oh, please don't cry, please don't cry."
Well, it is. I guess it is the Super Bowl of slopestyle.
Yeah.
And obviously an iconic location for obviously the biggest event on the calendar. So. And yeah, I mean, having been to Whistler and having been to that zone and having seen it in person, I mean, it's just for a mere mortal like Bryson and I, it's just incomprehensible how he can ride that stuff. So it's just crazy. But yeah, I mean, I was looking back, and maybe if we look a little bit to the future. If I look at the other big slope stylers. They have a notoriously short career certainly in competition. So I mean, most of the big names, they have at some stage retired relatively soon from competition. You're now just beginning your 20s, at the peak of your competitive career. But what are the plans for the future? Are you just fully focused now on competition, or are you already working on the next steps?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really more of the contest or competition athlete. So my main goal is to do good. I want to win that contest instead of having 1 million followers or whatever. But still, I'm working on also the other side, that I can grow my community and also, start with good partners and build something, make my own, how you call it?
Brand,
yeah, exactly. But I mean, I'm really, really focusing on doing great results. My goal is to, do some Crankworks podiums. I mean, now Emil is here, so getting a win, it's tough. But yeah, I mean, I'm focusing on that win, as everyone which is trying to do good in competitions is doing. And yeah, I mean, as you already said, the careers of a sportsman aren't that long. So you gotta, but
slopestylers are standing out a little bit. So I mean, if I think back to Brett Reeder or Brendan Semenak, I mean, they retired when they were 26, 27. So but that's a bit earlier than other disciplines.
If you think about it, if you have won 5 Red Bull Joyrides, like Semenak, you're the greatest of all times. I mean, still for Semenak, which have been winning so many competitions, every time, I mean, I don't really know him personally, but I think he's still nervous, Or I never heard from anyone which isn't nervous after all of the experience they had. And it's super stressful. I mean, everyone thinks like, oh yeah, they want to be in Joyride, but if you are at the practice and you got to do a run in 2 days, it's super tough and nerve-wracking. So I can completely understand those guys that they quit their competitive career quite early. But I mean, quit it early as the best without any injuries. I mean, that's a super smart move, if you would ask me. But yeah, I mean, still, if you think about Ryan Nyquist, 36 or 38 now.
Yeah.
And
still throwing down.
Yeah, and Jakub Wenzel is also 31 years old. I mean, Tommy G has a career as a professional pro rider more than 12 years. And now he's 28 or 27. I mean, if you think about it's a young man's
sport.
Yeah, but if you think about it, I wouldn't say it's super short career, but I mean, for example, now Reeder with Tidal has his own bike company, and he probably gonna never change the industry, He will stay in the bike industry. So I see that as a career. The competitive career is short, but the pro biking career can stay super long. Yeah,
sure, right? But you need to. I always say it's always better to have a plan than just and having a view where things should be going at some stage.
I'm working on my plan, but good. I mean, only 9 months in a pro career, so
exactly. Right, it's maybe a bit too early. We'll have to do another one of those podcasts with you at some stage.
But I'm really, I'm thinking about a lot of stuff because I love that and I want to do it as long as possible. So you got to be smart.
Cool. I mean, one thing that some listeners may or may not know, you have also dabbled in other disciplines. So you've been partaking in Enduro World Series events in Zermatt last year, no less. And, will you tell us a little bit about how that experience went?
Yeah, I mean, it was a super YOLO experience. I just called Beat from Piroma Bikes in Zurich, and I was like, yo, man, you think I really need tubeless for a EWS? And he was like,
I remember, I was at the shop too.
Hell yeah, man. Imagine you get a flat tire, and I was like, oh, god damn it, flat tire. I mean, flat tire in slopestyle, it's not that often. So I was like, okay, let's do that. Then like 2 days before the first practice of EWS was, we fixed that, and I just went there, and I didn't really know the format of the EWS. As the Gehrig twins just signed me in, and all of a sudden it started to snow. Like
that was a good
snow
one.
a lot. Super cold. Me with shorts. Like I had rain jacket with me, which was smart. But I was really, really struggling, and there were like there was a stage which took me 11 minutes.
Yeah.
Super tough. Like I couldn't shift anymore. I couldn't like press my thumb onto the dropper post thing. Barely could brake, and like way rougher than a downhill track. Way rougher, way more rocks. I mean, if you would crash there,
slippery routes.
I went there down really, really slow because I didn't want it to, eat shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it was a special experience, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But are we gonna see you again? Yeah, special kind of fun. Are we gonna see you again at some other discipline events? So like another enduro or another maybe a throwback to cross country.
I don't think cross country will fit to me now, but I just saw they recently released that they're doing a Swiss enduro series.
Yeah,
which
that looks interesting.
Yeah, it looks interesting, and maybe I don't know, I'll do one if it fits into my calendar. But would be funny in dry conditions, you know. And now I also got a 29er enduro bike, which makes me even faster, or a tiny bit. But maybe could be that I do another enduro race. Which isn't that far away. I mean, I will not fly to Chile for an EWS, just that I've said that.
I mean, it's very nice to have these races basically on your doorstep, right? So even if it's in Italy, it's like a 4 or 5 hour drive. So it's super cool.
Huppert, actually, one of the most memorable. I know you said you weren't so much into Instagram and being the social media star. However, I have to say that one of the most memorable posts that I saw you make was for the BAG, which is the Swiss equivalent for the Health Administration of Switzerland, and you're just telling everyone to use the Swiss COVID app, which basically is like this tracking app which uses Bluetooth to help have people register themselves in case they get infected. And I thought this is very responsible of you. What made you decide to post that?
Actually, I got contacted by someone I know in my town. I live in a quite tiny town with like 3,000 people. And he worked for the agency which did that and just asked me. And I was like, oh yeah, hell yeah. I mean, I support that our country stays healthy and we all get over this pandemic fast. And then he just asked me that and I was like, yeah, hell yeah, let's do that. And a lot of people asked me about that because it went quite big, like even in the French part of Switzerland. It was just the caption was written in French, and I mean, I think it's good. And even if the app like doesn't really work perfectly now, but I'm still into it and using it because I mean, you can't really do a lot with it, but I'm using it, and
Well, your efforts were certainly noticed. As a Vancouverite, I did find myself at several Crankworks events throughout the years. And I did have my part in riding a portion of the slopestyle boneyard. It definitely was challenging, and I definitely didn't land a lot of the features. I mean, like on my wheels, maybe on my back or side or head. Anyhow. So I can understand how it's really a battle to complete the course, and I get the idea, the feeling that I used to play team sports, and even if you win or lose, when you come off the field at the end, it really feels like you've kind of accomplished something from challenging yourself so hard and working so hard, and also with having the guys around you, whether they be your teammates or your opponent, all working together, all creating this, I don't know, it's kind of a symphony. So I understand this camaraderie that can happen on the slopestyle field, even though you're competing against these players. You must walk off thinking, yeah, now these are my comrades, even though we've just fought together or against each other.
Yeah, I mean, as I told you guys, everyone is stoked, like finishing Joyride healthy and just walking away from the boneyard. And
with all your bones intact.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, as I told you guys, everyone helps each other out on doing their stuff, and we're all hugging each other when we finish with the contest and cheering with each other. And yeah, I think that's the coolest feeling when you know you finished it, everyone finished, just walk off. Everyone's super pumped, and the camaraderie, or how it's called, camaraderie, is just insane.
One theme that we have coming up quite frequently on in our conversations is this rampage view of mountain biking. So basically meaning that someone that is not in the sport only sees these big jumps and this crazy fast riding and all that sort of stuff, and just it's only crazy people doing this. And of course, you're falling right into that category. So I think it would be good to talk a little bit about your preparation and your training and your routines. So I'd be curious to see, now that you're a full-time professional, what does a normal work week look like for Lukas Huppert these days?
I mean, right now it's all kind of different, as I'm not allowed to go into the gym or any other indoor place, as I'm not in the Swiss Cycling Federation with slopestyle. I mean, my results are good, but as the sport is in the federation, I'm not able to do that stuff. But a normal work week without COVID would be that, yeah, I try to ride almost every day. I'd say like 5 times a week. And normally I wake up, I don't know, like 7:30, eat oatmeal, and maybe check my mails. If there are too many, then I won't answer them like at the moment. But yeah, I mean, maybe answer some mails, check some questions, some messages, and then open my training peaks, as I recently started with a trainer. He's also the team manager of a sponsor of mine, which worked perfectly, because I didn't like, when I met him, he was like, oh yeah, I'm even having a bike school and can help you out with that. And that was a perfect match. And yeah, I'm calling often with him. Then I do some exercise in the morning. I mean, I won't go to the gym super hard if I will ride in the evening. But yeah, check that. Then meet up with some friends and ride. Do that, have a 3-hour session, focus on some tricks, or depends where I'm going. If I'm going to a trail spot, then I will not do all my contest tricks. But if I'm going to an airbag spot or trick jump spot, then I'll do all my tricks in order. So I do start with easy tricks and always do harder tricks. And with the ones I really want to get 100% dialed, I'll repeat them like 3 times in a row. And if I don't get them 3 times in a row, I continue with the next one. And at the end of the sessions, I do all of them, which I didn't get 3 times in a row of the hard tricks, till I get them 3 times in a row. Or I try to do that. I mean, now I say that, but if it's like a trick I'm really scared of and it doesn't work out for the first 3 times, then I'm like, yeah, I don't want to smash myself today and do something else. But yeah, I mean, I do that. Then often I come home a bit later, I don't know, at like 9 or something, and go to sleep soon. Yeah, but it always depends. I mean, like in wintertime, I like to go to Spain or France. And if I'm in Spain, perfect jumps, I'm riding all day, if possible. Or I ride in the morning, then have a bit of chill and relaxing at lunchtime, and then pad on at 3 p.m. and ride till the sun goes down, and yeah, do that every day. And then I come home, do all my gym stuff, then go somewhere again for a biking trip, or I just try to combine it all. But you know, like doing some leg exercises in the morning and then having a full, practice session. I mean, then my legs are not super, like strong and poppy, and I can pop out of the jump. So I had to learn that, but now, doing that. And sometimes, like today, I had 4 calls. Even got a video project budget confirmed, which is super sick. And today was more of office day. And also did my taxes last weekend, huh?
Oh wow, very good.
Which,
so you see, even a pro slope styler has to do office days and his own taxes. So there you go.
Yeah, but I mean, if you got everything cleared, all the work with the sponsors and stuff, then almost full season you don't really need to do a lot of paperwork because you're just focusing on that stuff and do some Instagram. Oh, and some Instagramming I also need to do. And I spend too much time on Instagram. So I did a time limit from 45 minutes for Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. But I cannot really do that every day. I often do like another 15 minutes, Because, if you do a post and you want to see, it's going good, or answer some comments and stuff. But, that's it. And before, I thought if I'm not working full-time in apprenticeship, I'll have so much time to do everything else. But it isn't like that. I mean, before with the apprenticeship, I didn't do like all the sponsorship like everything, or like been managing not a lot of stuff. I just said like if somebody asked me like, can you come there on that day to do the show? I was like, nope, have to work. And now if I get all that stuff also and can manage that and take some time for it, I'm busy. Which is
sounds
sick.
like it.
Which is sick.
Good busy, I like to call it.
I enjoy that. I mean, it isn't like I would work, I don't know if I would work in like a bank like you would do. You're probably busier than me, but
There's these days and the other days. A question I'm really interested in is kind of how you learn tricks and how you progress your tricks. So I just want to understand. So basically, simple question, right? So you learned a new trick. Made the example in our notes to say like, okay, you learned to backflip, and then what is your normal progression? Are you then going straight to a different trick, so like a front flip to take the exact opposite, or are you then working on making the backflip perfect and more complicated and adding more variations, or how does that normally work for you?
I mean, if you're really practicing on some complicated tricks, you want to do them in a contest. That's the main goal for me as a contest athlete, If you do a video or something, they want to see stylish tricks. But if you're on working something super tech, you got to be sure you get them 10 out of 10 times. Because you got 2 runs, and if you crash on both, you're going to be super mad at yourself. So I'm really trying to focus on some tricks I want to do in a competition and really work on them, like get them 10 out of 10. And it's always, you pick your tricks you can imagine, because there's some, for me, for example, I cannot think about a double front flip or something. So I don't really want to try it, because I know I will not do that trick, because it's just crazy for me. But about like something else, like a backflip 360 bar spin, which for me is possible in my head, and I think I can do that. So I start working on that trick, and it would look cool in a run. So I just watch a video of someone doing it, if someone has done it before. But most of the times, someone has done it before, the tricks I do. And do a screen record or something. Then I'll save it into my camera roll. Like really slowly watch like how he's doing that, or is he leaning to that side, or is he carving in the lip, this and that. Which muscles is he activating, If he's like, is he really strengthening his core, leaning over the bar or whatever. And then I just try to understand the trick, and then I go somewhere, drive to an airbag, just try it, and But I mean, it's super random, because a bunch of tricks I just learned out of nothing, didn't think about it before, and then somebody was like, yo, try that, first try, bam, next day on dirt. It's so random. And if I think about a trick really, really a lot, it's often a bit not that easy. But I think because I also really focus on tricks which are hard and new.
Yeah, for sure. But what drives your decision? What kind of tricks you're learning? Is it your own inspiration, or is it the competition? So, like, Emil has been doing this trick, so I have to do it too, or I want to do something different to Emil, or what drives this?
I think I did that too often before, that I always try to copy someone, because it's often like that. Everyone tries to copy the winner, to be the winner. But I did that for years, and now, even if I don't really have a trick which I'm only doing, because like Nikolai is the crazy spinning guy, Emil is the crazy technical guy, Fetko is, for example, the crazy extension Superman secret 360 guy, Tommy G is the 360 tabletop guy, and I don't have that trick yet. And I'm really thinking about something, but it's not that easy. And if I ask friends, it's like, oh yeah, do the helmet special. Just put off your helmet, like the half shell, like grab it with this hand and then with the other and put it on again. And like, yeah, just bullshit. But yeah, I'm really trying now, when I got more time, to really find something myself for me. Or I watch some, snowboarding videos, BMX videos, because I like it, and maybe I can link up with something from that. But it's not easy. And yeah, the drive is mainly about doing good in competition, I guess. And having, obviously, like having fun with all of that, but like trying really new tricks is, to maybe show them.
So are you basically picking, you look at competitions and how they're grading the tricks, and then, let's say, I don't know, an additional bar spin is adding 10 points, and if I do an additional no-hander, then that's another 15 points. And are you putting tricks together like that, or is it slightly different?
For me, that sounds super lame.
But it's like lame. Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
It sounds super lame to just copy, but somehow not everybody, but a lot of people do that, and me too. But I know, like, everyone has his own style. Nobody is the same. But a lot of people do the same tricks. So if everyone does kind of the same tricks, it's then all about the style who wins. But if you can do something cooler or new, then you also get some great scores. And yeah, I mean, that's a hard question, to be honest.
Okay. What has been the hardest trick so far for you to learn?
Well, I think the backflip 360 bar spin, but I lost it, kind of, sadly. Okay. I did it when I was 19, or like a year ago.
way back when I was 19.
No. But the thing is, I struggled so much with the backflip 360 then, that I was like, oh no, man, I gotta stop that. Because if I lose that backflip 360, then I'm like really struggling hard in next competitions. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to do that again. I even did a post like, oh yeah, back in the days, blah, blah. And should I start it again? And everybody was like, yeah, start it. But now as I cannot ride the Skillspark airbag in winter time. So super tough to focus on new tricks. And I always have to drive to Italy to ride a proper airbag, which is 2.5 hours, which is all right. But, I cannot stay all the time in Italy, and the other airbag is in France, 7 hours away, at Tommy G's place, which is sick, which I've been just recently, like 2 weeks ago. I've been there for 10 days, which was dope as fuck. Thanks, Tommy, for letting us stay at your house. And yeah, we had like a good crew of riders, all cooking together, playing table soccer after riding, and yeah, great times. But yeah, I mean, it's the backflip 360, I'd say.
Okay, but I mean, I guess for the listener that is not so deep into slopestyle, maybe just to put it in context, how many other riders on the tour can do backflip 360 bar spin?
I think the only guy which did it in a competition is Reader and Semenuk, excuse me. But probably Emil can do it, but didn't really want it to show us. Or I'm not sure. But I saw once a video he did that perfectly on a mulch jump, backflip 360 bar spin. But yeah, the only guys in competition were Semenuk and Reader.
Okay. So yeah, so there's not even a handful of other guys that can do that trick. Certainly not up to competition standards.
And they are the goats, just
exactly. Say. Okay. Final. Really, the question I'm really interested in here is also the question: when do you feel confident to bring a trick or a jump to competition?
Yeah, when I've done them a lot of times and on different jumps, you know, because slopestyle jumps can be so different if the lip is deeper and if it's longer or whatever. So I got to be sure I did them at least 3 different jumps, and yeah, I know like I can land it, because there's some tricks you're like, okay, maybe I crash, maybe I don't. It's 50-50, but yeah. I mean, if it's in your head and you're confident, it works. But to have the confidence, you need to do them a certain amount of times. But I cannot really give you a number. It's hard. But I think 50 times or something.
Wow.
Which is a bunch.
That includes crashing.
Or maybe not 50 times.
But 50 times successful.
Yeah, with airbags, at least 50 times.
Okay. Practice makes perfect, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, I've got tricks which I've done for 300 times, and every 5th time I crash. You know, so it's different, but sometimes you just get a huge confidence boost when you're having a great session and everything works. So slopestyle has to do a lot with your mind. The mindset is at least 50% of that you can perform under pressure and be confident enough to do all your new tricks which you just recently learned at home.
Okay. Are you specifically working on your mindset and preparing yourself to perform under pressure, or are you just, if I feel it this day, then I'm going to do it, and if I'm not feeling it, I'm not going to do it? Or
I mean, I used to do that when I had my first and only broken bone, which was the scaphoid on my wrist when I was 17 back then. I did that, and sadly all the listeners cannot see it, but you guys can see it. That's the wall with negative voice, winning voice, stress voice, safety voice, easy voice, blah blah blah. There's many, but I mean I don't do any mind training right now, or I just did that. I went to the course and they all explained me how that all works, and everything was so clear for me. And from after that injury, I started in 2018, went to the first Rocket Air final. 2 months later, I won the gold event, got Red Bull Rookie of the Year, blah, blah, blah. So I think all of a sudden, that helped me. Even if I didn't really feel it before, but somehow my mind was free and I was performing so good. And especially with 18, you think you're
invincible.
Like if you win something, you think like, oh yeah, nobody can stop me. And next competition, let's send it harder. And even in those 2 years, like really, I feel older. Or maybe I'm more experienced, but I cannot just show up and just send it straight. I really think about the stuff I do. And with 18, you show up and you're like, let's do that, blah blah blah. And you're like talking on the road and like, I do a backflip double tail whip now. Pop, eat shit. And I did some of that stuff. And I mean, as I told you, the mind game is super important. And if you're not, if you really think you crash in the start, like before you run, you think you're going to crash, you're going to crash.
Oh, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
That's for sure.
So, But I think that all came, and like confidence and mindset just comes from doing a lot of competitions and knowing how all that stuff works.
Yeah. And is fear ever an issue for you?
I mean, everyone at the slopestyle competition has fear, I think. Because the jumps are big, you're trying a new rotation off that step down or whatever, and if you're going to crash, you're gonna get hurt. So yeah, I mean, kind of shaky before you do it, and before you run, you're also afraid, but you don't think about anything. But it's like that feeling of you want to win, you're a bit afraid, you're nervous, you know you got that, you know you're gonna work out. You know, it's like that cocktail of emotions. But yeah, I mean, for example, the biggest cannon boner log ever built was at Big White, BC, and that thing is massive. Like, if you stand there, even me, which did almost every competition, you just think like, that's fucked. And then I did the front flip off that thing, and it's huge, like maybe 9 meter high boner log, if you think about it, 9 meter high, and like 7 meter far. And if you do a front flip, you jump further all the time, so you gotta judge the speed perfectly. And then I was like, okay, let's do that. Pull the brake, whoa! And you just see, like, you got so much time, you just see you landing, like, oh, there's the landing. Then you don't see anything anymore. Then you see the sky and there's, oh, there's the landing. And it's just such a slow rotation. And if you jump too far, you're gonna get hurt, like badly hurt.
Okay.
But yeah, I deal with fear sometimes, that's for sure.
Huppert, you sound like you've put a lot of work into getting your fears in order, understanding yourself, creating a sort of routine for yourself to progress and improve yourself. What part of your other life, your apprenticeship life, did you take away? What did you learn, or what did you kind of experience that you decided, hey, this is going to help me in my other career, in my slopestyle career, in my slopestyle life?
I think it's in the other way. I learned a lot from slopestyle to my apprenticeship.
Oh.
As you know, like, if you always have a goal in front of you and you really work toward that goal, it's gonna work out no matter what. I mean, if you work on to flying without anything, naked, it won't work. But stupid example. But if you know, like, you wanna get that trick, or you wanna finish your apprenticeship and then start your pro career or whatever, and you really work on it, it works. And all of a sudden, somehow, I don't know how, I finished as class best in my apprenticeship. And I was by far the guy, thank you.
Well done.
And I was by far the kid which was like missing in school a lot, like really, really a lot. Like, I don't know, I didn't do a lot for school, but when I did, 100%, and I was really trying to, like, get all my school shit done on one day, and the rest of the days I'll do my biking, because my main goal was always to be a bike pro. But the other goal, which was also main goal, was to finish my apprenticeship good, to start my pro career, obviously, in time and not 1 year later. So yeah, I was, I don't know, like on the main, how you call it, like test, where you do like practical stuff. It just felt like a contest, you know, you're nervous, you have sweaty hands, you know you got it, but you know there's some doubt, and you're like, okay, take a deep breath, let's do that. And yeah, somehow when it counts, I can perform. I don't know. And that's also what my boss told me. He was like, you know, you show up, like one eye is looking to that side, the one to the other, because I'm so damn tired, falling asleep on the building side, you know. And then he's like, but when it counts, you got it. So yeah, send it,
Just
man.
Just do your thing.
Yeah, but I mean, like doing the apprenticeship and the biking career, I think that helped me so much for my further life, because I know how it is to, I don't know if you say that in English, to bite on my teeth, you know, like to just, yeah, like if there's hard times, to just keep doing it and work towards a goal. And even if you're sometimes losing your focus, just try to like maybe do off day, but then continue and really work on it. And somehow I think, yeah, you know, it gave me so much confidence that I was the only guy doing something like full time And all the other guys in the Crankworks haven't been doing anything else than biking, you know? And when they finished Crankworks, it was like joyride. Everyone went to like, I don't know, vacation with their girlfriends and were chilling for the next 2 weeks, or chilling, or they went to Backwards Jam too, but you know, they just did what they loved the most. And I was at a construction site. Yeah.
You went back to work.
From doing the biggest competitions in the world in slopestyle to going to my normal job, you know, like showing up with my working clothes to my working mates, like, yo, what up? I'm back. And nothing changed, you know. So now when I finished with it, I was like, okay, yeah, now I'm confident, blah, 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 I can get it, you know. If I made it to the top 10 full, like just as a hobby, from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., imagine if I could do 24 hours. But I mean, I didn't learn like 1,000 tricks in those 9 months, but yeah, I think my riding is as good as ever.
It's a good question you ask yourself. What if I focused completely on slopestyle? However, I want to throw another question at you is, what if you set yourself another goal that seemed almost unaccomplishable, similar to completing your apprenticeship, or maybe even something harder, which would force you again to act in the way you did to progress yourself? Maybe that's the only path that would allow you to progress. Maybe not.
True that. I mean, as I told you, a goal for me is to like get a Crankworks podium, this and that. But it's not like completely clear, you know, like
how
goal.
to achieve it.
Yeah. I mean, it is, but you don't really know when it happens, you know. But with my apprenticeship was like, on that day X, I'm finished, pam, you know. And I mean, I'm still super on it, you know. But now, I don't know, I just want to get as good results as possible. But it's always so easy said, you know, I just want to get the best results as possible, blah, blah, blah. It's not really a main goal. And main goal is to be like, yeah, get a podium really soon. That's the main goal in this or next season. Depends how they're going to happen. But yeah, I think setting goals is the best way to success.
Well, I think you're on your way. And I speak for us here in the studio and probably most of all of Switzerland. We're rooting for you.
Oh, for sure.
Stoked to hear that.
Well, I guess, you know, that's a very good segue into kind of the last part I wanted to talk about. And, you know, that's kind of the development path for the younger riders. Right now, you're obviously, let's say, at the middle part of your career. Not a young rider anymore. Getting support and what you do to inspire the next Lucas Huppert. My kids are a very big fan of yours, as you know, and they love watching you compete in TV. So, of course, that's their main benchmark is, can I see it on Red Bull TV? What got them actually stoked the most was seeing you and meeting you in person down at the dirt jumps and, you know, at the skate park. And they can relate so much more to you now. And so, yeah, as I said, you're kind of the benchmark for what's cool. So really, what are you doing to inspire the next generation, apart from showing up on Red Bull TV?
I mean, first of all, that makes me super happy to hear that from you and that your kids are stoked on seeing me. I mean, I was in the same position as your son, you know, meeting Pilgrim and those guys. I was like, wow. And now that I can be that, makes me super happy. And I really love to inspire someone. And yeah, if I'm really trying to answer like all the messages I get on socials and stuff, and if I see a kid riding good, you know, at the pump track or something, I just say like, yo man, super sick. Like, keep pushing. And yeah, and I'm like trying to give tips as much as possible on riding. And I mean, as you guys know, the mountain bike sport is such a lovely and great community, and I really want to also, help to grow it, and really want to, see the kids having fun and going into our path. And I really want to, some kids are listening here, or everyone else, like, if you really want to do that biking thing or any other sport kind of thing, just try it. I think, yeah, it just helps you everywhere, and yeah, just tried it. I mean, it's so easy to say, but just try it. If you want to do that, just try it. I was always a bit in doubt, like, oh, do I really want to go into that like sketchy sportsman career? But no regrets. I mean, I'm a 20-year-old man. I'm a 20-year-old man. You know, I cannot tell too much, like talk too much. You guys way more experienced than me, but from what I've got now, I mean, I'm living the life I want to right now, and yeah,
That's great. Maybe just a little bit about what are the so kind of the development paths for a young rider these days? Are there any support structures, or how was that for you when you were coming up through your younger years?
I mean, there are no support structures in any federation or something. Yeah, just to say that. But
it's all self-made.
Yeah, kind of. But I was super in luck that on that time I was starting my teenager years. There were like so many infrastructures in biking, like the Zurich pump track, Skills Park, then Flying Metal, and Flying Metal crew bike parts built the City Trails jump park, which helped me the most to progress. As Flying Metal crew builds like more mellow jumps, which the competition jumps are, and City Trails had the land to put it on, so I was doing that a lot. Like, that helped me to get good, and so many skate parks opened, pump tracks opened, and I mean, the infrastructure in Switzerland now is huge. So many pump tracks, so many dirt jumps, and yeah, I mean, Tommy G also said that Zurich is insane for riding bikes. You got everything, you got airbag, you got trick jumps, you got pump tracks, you got trails on every hill, bike parks super close, like Lenzerheide, and those parks are just 1 hour, 30 minutes from Zurich, and yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, again, we generally echo those comments in our other conversations, right? So, I mean, the offering that Zurich has in terms of mountain biking, I know everyone loves to hate on it, but
I mean, come on.
The grand scheme of things, I don't know any other city that's of that size that has the same infrastructure anywhere, right? So maybe Vancouver.
Yeah, but Vancouver or Squamish, but I mean, I know some.
But that's not a city, right? So Squamish is a relatively small town, right?
But I have some friends in Munich, and everything is getting torn down. Like, all the forests are forbidden it to ride bikes there. It's insane. They really have a, how call it, like political kind of war between mountain bikers and any other things. And I mean, it's super easy to hate on stuff, but if you really think about it, Zurich has a great infrastructure. And building a public trail in a city, that not everyone is killing himself, which doesn't really know how to ride, it's hard.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, you gotta find the good, balance. And if you really are complaining about all, then just build your own trail. Kind of.
Good point. Very, very, very good point. Maybe my final one for me is how did you make sure? You said there is not much support, but how did you make sure that you got the support that you needed?
I mean, the Fly Metal crew guys, which organize bike days and Swatch Rocketer, and they're also doing several of shows, they helped me a lot, and they're building kind of a structure, I mean, it's not like a federation, but they started with some kids coaching in Thun for dirt jumping. Then they started to do shows, invite me for shows, which also gives you a bit of a salary if you can do shows, that I can pay like some flight or whatever. Because in the beginning, I always invested most of the money I got from some shows or something into going to another competition, and the prize money I got into another competition and stuff. But yeah, I mean, the structure, it was almost self-built from the guys building their own jumps, Then you just ride there, and Fly Metal did organize a few contests. Oh, and I forgot about that. Fly Metal crew organized the first Swiss dirt jump series, which are 4 stops, super tiny format. but you had like, just to say, when I was 14, I won the under 22 Swiss series.
At 14.
Yeah, I won the overall, which was the first Swiss series, dirt jumping series. And that was, I mean, the dream, 3 or 4 stops per year. You know how to ride the competitions. I mean, no big crowd. There were only like the parents watching and some other biking dudes drinking some beers.
Well, that's all it takes, right? You don't need much more, right?
I mean, if you can start at a young age, experiencing that, knowing how to perform when it counts, not even pressure from like a lot of people watching or, like as I told you, like team managers and stuff and all the stuff, or any other things. You just ride when it counts for yourself, kind of. And if you win like a t-shirt and a helmet, which was back in the days, like, wow, I was the most stoked kid ever wearing that helmet, which I won,
Oh, yeah, because everyone was like, ooh, do you got a new helmet? Yeah, ask me where I got it from.
I just won the overall. Ooh. Exactly. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That also started, which was a great infrastructure. If you think about it, like, starting a tiny dirt jumping series, and there was no such dirt jumping series in the world like this one, like super tiny and just for the kids under 22. And for the adults, it was a jam,
All right, we're getting towards the end of our time here, so let's we have three questions that we like to ask all of our guests, and if you don't have anything else on your mind, then we would like to go through those, if that's okay. All right, let's talk to us a little bit about the bike that got you stoked on riding first. It's the first bike that really got your love going.
I had some bikes before when I was a kid, but the main bike which really made me pumped on riding forecross and mainly dirt jumping was the Norco 400 dirt bike. Yellow,
wow.
Completely yellow frame with
nice.
with blue decals, Norco, and super bright blue bar and rims. I mean, the most disco bike you can get. Yeah, I mean, that was my first dirt jumping bike, and it was a 26-inch bike back then. And the next bike was a 24-inch bike. Because, I mean, I was a kid,
backwards.
Yeah, but if you think about the tiny kid riding a 26-inch bike for a adult guy, you got
sure.
It's like, oh, Dad, man. I mean, I love my bike, but I cannot do it. I cannot do a 360. I could do a 360 with it. Wrong. But I cannot do a tail whip, Dad.
Okay, next one. Imagine you are Harry Schedini and you are a bike magician extraordinaire. And you can make riding a bike more awesome for anyone by the stroke of your magic dropper post. What would you do?
I think so many people are afraid of jumping, There's so many mountain bikes which are like, I like riding technical stuff, but, jumping, it's a miracle. For example, my dad jumped once my kicker, like, on the mattress, and then jumped into the post and the mailbox, first try, and got hurt.
Sent it straight to the mailbox.
No. I just want to give people some confidence that they know they can jump and really like have a free mind and just, I mean, jumping is with the flow, Don't be stiff on your bike, just be smooth and silky. And just give people the confidence and to try some jumping.
Question 3. You're in Innsbruck, Crankworks. You're about to drop in. You know that if you incorporate a skid into your run, you will podium, at least, probably take the crown. How do you incorporate that skid into your run?
That's a tough one, because you need to carry a lot of speed on that course. I mean, if I would skid the last finishing berm, that would be kind of lame, There's the drop, then the dirt to dirt, And then I would jump. I don't know if you saw a post like a week ago. When I jumped and the side of the landing, I slided with my back tire. So I would send the big booter, which is big, transfer it a bit, try to skid it on the edge of the right side of the landing, and then try to not crash. And yeah, I mean, there would be a straight jump to some skidding into the landing, on the side of the landing, you know? Not the landing part, just the side of the part, and try to skid it there, and yeah. If I podium, I'll try it for sure.
We're gonna see
that
that
would
on
be a
the.
cool one. Because onto the whale tail, you know, super grippy, and if I'm too slow out of the whale tail, I really get hurt. In between the hips, no speed. So yeah.
I think we can see that one on the Red Bull highlights for sure.
Absolutely.
I mean,
for the next years.
If I would send that, I would get completely viral.
Absolutely. Well, Huppert, thanks again for sitting down with us tonight. This was really awesome. If listeners have any questions or want to learn more about you, where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm active on Instagram at Lucas Huppert, also on Facebook, but there I'm not really super active, but I'm posting all my stuff there too. But yeah, mainly hit me up on Instagram. As I mentioned before, I answer all the DMs, and yeah, try to help everyone. And thanks for having me here. I mean, I really appreciate it. Thanks, Pascal. Thanks, Bryson. Such a cool thing you guys started. And yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your time. This was awesome. And talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao. Have a good one, guys.